Welcome to Two Guys, One Movie with your hosts, Eric.
And I'm Jim.
And today we are discussing World War II. Now, what were your thoughts on the film?
Well, I thought it had a little bit of a shaky beginning. Mm-hmm. As a sequel, it was great.
It was definitely a great sequel. The original film, World War I, was very boring, and we gave it like a negative review. But I thought the sequel, I thought the villain was a little one-dimensional, but he was very memorable.
Yeah, I really think it might be infringing on Star Wars territory a little bit.
I could see that. The Nazis are definitely stormtroopers.
Right, this Hitler guy they used in World War II. He did come across as a little one-dimensional, but he was a very strong character.
I actually felt like this movie ripped off Big Trouble in Little China a little bit. Like, this movie wasn't very original. I'm not going to make that up. But what it did do, it was well acted. Even though Hitler was definitely too one-dimensional character. I thought what came out of this movie, though, was much better, which was the Cold War, which was a great movie, great thriller.
Didn't have the big bang special effects that the World War II
I didn't like that.
Yeah, they obviously wrote that ending to lead it up into the next one, but it did come on kind of sudden. You know, we're fighting. We already beat the bad guy. We already beat the big villain.
The bad guy was already beaten. I didn't understand why they even had to do that. We could have ended it there.
Yeah, I don't even know what they had this Japan, was that what they called it?
Sure.
They had that going. I don't even understand. It was like a side plot that they didn't really fully explain. And then all of a sudden, boom, you blow up two cities, great special effects. Does set up the next movie, but it really didn't make sense in context.
Absolutely. It felt like a Die Hard ripoff, really.
Yeah.
But the Cold War, that was a great thriller. It starred Martin Sheen. And what I loved about that movie is it was, Hitchcock would be so proud. It was nothing but tension. It was a tension-filled movie. You always thought that bomb would go off. It never comes.
It never comes. And I really do like how they pulled that transition. When Martin Sheen died, of course, they had to bring in a new actor for that later. And, you know, they made this transition through, we're going to have a couple guys play the president. And then they bring in Ronnie Reagan. Mm-hmm. Ronnie Reagan, you know, but prior to this, a B-list actor. Yeah. But I think this definitely is going to put him on the A-list.
That was definitely...
Tear down that wall. That was a great line. That was a great line.
Well, what did we get after with the Vietnam? And let me tell you, the Vietnam had probably the best music, the best soundtrack of the entire...
Doors. I don't know. I think the director may have underestimated the intelligence of the audience. I mean, you got 15 minutes till the end. They start rolling the credits. It's supposed to be early 70s. And really, the movie's not over until, you know, years later in the plot. It just, you don't roll the credits and then have more film.
They only had one set and they stuck to it, and it just felt like it was in a loop, like a cartoon from Flintstones.
Yeah, they said, well, we're going to mix up the plot a little bit about halfway through, do some stuff in Cambodia. But they used the same set.
I
mean, it looked exactly like the people looked exactly the same.
The only other set they had was obviously for the presidents. But,
yeah.
I mean, how long did we look at that?
Yeah, I mean, really, we don't need to see Dave again. We really don't.
Overall, World War II, it was an amazing action film. I thought Sylvester Stallone was particularly, you know, wonderful as the commando. But I'd have to give it a B, just because they hyped this film so much. And there were mistakes. I mean, I saw the boom mic occasionally.
Right, and you don't get the realism that you would get from, like, watching John Wayne. I will give it credit for its special effects, although I do think that they kind of relied too heavily on the special effects.
See, the special effect ruined the movie for me. The final scene, they could have done anything. But, I mean, it just came in a left field.
Right, let's just wrap it up with a boom. I would give it a rating just to distinguish that it's better than World War I, I think.
Which
you rarely see a sequel.
But World War I was a terrible film. Nothing happened in World War I.
Nothing happened, no. And the special effects were just
There were no
lame.
special effects.
Yeah, it's like pop guns, okay.
Stay tuned for next week as we talk about the movie industry's worst villain, George W. Bush.
I'm Jim Nash.
And I'm Eric Rogers.
And we'll see you
at the
drive-in. Cut.
Paste.
Print.